I'll do some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello and welcome to a silent episode of All Things Horror. I am your host Ben and I'm joined here with my co-host Matt, and if you're new to the show, each week we choose a movie to break down and review, we give it our honest opinions and rate it from 1 to 10. We have a brief spoiler-free chat about the film before we head into the plot and discuss our favourite and least favourite parts of the movie. And if you stick around until the end, we'll finish off with some interesting trivia and a fun little horror game created by myself. And this week we're going to be discussing Silent Hill from 2006.
I'm going to do a silent review.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say anything. People might like that.
The synopsis goes as follows. So Rose da Silva, she takes her adopted daughter Sharon to the town of Silent Hill, for which Sharon cries while sleepwalking. Rose is involved in a car accident near the town and awakens to find Sharon missing. While searching for her daughter, she fights a local cult and begins to uncover Sharon's connection to the town's dark past. And it's directed by Christophe Gans, and it's based on the video game of the same name. Main cast is Radha Mitchell, Sean Bean, Laurie Holden, and Jodelle Ferland. She's the one that plays a little girl. Just over 2 hours, 2 hours 7 minutes. I couldn't find it anywhere to stream, but it is available on YouTube for free. Yes, decent quality. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. This was the winner of this month's poll pick. We did it for video game horrors, and it was against Resident Evil and Doom, but everyone voted for this one.
We're doomed.
Yeah, saying that, I've never played the game. I'm not really much of a gamer.
Me neither.
Yeah, so I couldn't tell you how accurate this is to the game, but yeah.
I think it felt like a game. Like the film felt like I was watching a game.
Yeah.
Like I felt like more so than if that was the intention, then they were successful because it felt like cutscenes from a game and some of the first person stuff from a game.
Yeah.
So like actually, if that's what they were going for, I know that Roger Avary wrote it, who is known for working with Quentin Tarantino and Video Archives podcasts and Rules of Attraction and Killing Zoe and all those films. Like, it seems strange for him to have written this because like I said, they're having to kind of serve a game fan. And I don't know whether he just went, "Oh, screw those guys," and did his own thing. And the director, French filmmaker, influenced by Bava and all these different people. So I'm like, oh, another strange choice. So I don't know. Like, I've not played the game like you haven't either. So I get the idea of what the game is about now. I understand it. I think I understand what the game is. It's like this kind of dimension, isn't it? This alternate dimension. And I liked the things that maybe these both brought to it, so that's good.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like I said, I don't really know. I don't know whether it's like super accurate to the game or takes a complete departure from it. I think from what people are saying, it's like about 75%.
Yeah, it feels like it would be. Yeah. But that, I've not really heard of Christophe Gans, the director. But yeah, I did hear he was a huge fan of the game, and it took him about 5 years to actually obtain the rights from who was it? Konami.
Oh yeah, the Konami, the Konami code,
the company. So yeah, I think he. I read that he basically he made his own little mini film and overlaid it with actual music from the game, and he completely funded it himself, with an interview describing how much he loved Silent Hill, just so he could kind of like get the rights off him. And
that's really good though, that he's got that passion for it. I mean, it does come off as like a cut above films like, say, Doom or some of those other ones that like maybe are just like feel a little bit like a cash in, or like it's not like a complete like action take on the game. There is some, like, obviously there's some fighting in it and things like that, and the cast are like proper actors. Like, it's not like The Rock or like a big muscly person in the lead. It's like, obviously the story is about a mum, isn't it? So like that makes it different to start with. But you've got some real, like, Sean Bean is in it, like, and Laurie Holden from Walking Dead, Deborah Kara Unger from Crash, Radha Mitchell, who was in literally everything in the 2000s. Like, there was her and the other Australian who can't think of the name of, who was in like Mulholland Drive. Like, there seemed to be this, like, I suppose we've got it now, haven't we? Like Margot Robbie, these kind of young blonde actresses coming from Australia, like Melissa George and people like that, who've come out of Neighbours or Home and Away, and like they were leading a lot of the films at the time. But it's a good cast. Sean Bean does not know what accent he is doing in this film, though. Like, he doesn't know if he's English. He's like English and like proper Northern and like bastard, you know. And then he's like kind of American, and then he goes all over the place. At one point, I couldn't work out what he was.
But, I know you hadn't seen this film before,
No.
And I try not to hype movies up for people, because I don't want them to go in with a higher expectation than they should, you know, and then be like disappointed by it. And I hope I didn't do that for you, like the last couple of weeks or so, because it is a good movie, but it's not a great movie. It's
I would agree with that.
Yeah, but I'm interested to know how you kind of felt about it overall. Like,
I was shocked the people that were involved in it. Like, that was my first initial thought. I was like, Roger Avary, like, the cast, like the director, you know, kind of his background being into like a lot of French films and being into like a lot of classic giallo filmmakers, like a lot of stuff. Like Laurie Holden, she was good in she was Andrea in Walking Dead.
Yeah,
like, she was good in that, I think, until I think there was issues with her and maybe someone who was making it, I can't remember, and she left there, but she was good in that. Like, the cast are all spot on. And now at least I know who some of the people are who dress up at conventions that you've kind of told me in the past who they were. Like, I've gone, who is that? And it's like Triangle Head Man or whatever he's called.
Pyramid Head.
Yeah, Pyramid Head. Cheese Triangle Man. And like, there's you can see bits of some of the other influences in there. Like, this film's 18 years old as well. Like, so the CGI hasn't aged massively. It didn't look terrible compared to some films from around that time.
Yeah, it wasn't bad CGI. It's one of the better CGIs in the 2000s, because I'm quite vocal about saying that I'm not a huge lover of 2000s horrors. Between 2000 and 2010, that era of movies, I don't know what it was about them. They didn't feel great, and I'm not sure if that's because that's when we made the transition to like digital formats and we were elevating the amount of CGI we used in movies. I don't know what it was, but
you're probably right, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, even though like this one, like I said, it's, you know, obviously 18 years is a long time in technology, isn't it? And gaming and computer generated graphics and everything, really. So for it to not stand out that much, maybe it was really ahead of its time at the time, and that's why people were like saying how great it was. Like, everything's all the ingredients are there. I know that like like I said, the director really wanted to kind of make it into like a Jacob's Ladder kind of idea of, being inside your own head and crazy stuff going on and kind of weird stuff. But the CGI doesn't work. It doesn't really work against it as much as I thought it would. So that's definitely a positive. It felt very much like there's not a lot of dialogue in the film, really. There's some key things, but it felt very much like a searching for clues and like a game, like in a game where you're looking over someone's shoulder and they're opening up a book and then they do like a little puzzle or they open up a box and they do so in that sense it's quite good that they were catering to the audience of the people who actually love the game, because the guy who made it, I didn't realize that he was such a massive fan of it himself, so that makes sense. Like sometimes the game element of it or feeling like I was in a game kind of worked against it, because I don't necessarily enjoy sitting and watching other people play computer games. Like now, maybe people do with Twitch and things like that.
Yeah.
But like you used to go around to your mate's house and they'd be playing on Mortal Kombat or whatever, and you're like, can I have a go? And they'd be like, no. Can I have a go? No. You just have to sit there and watch them. It wasn't the most fun.
Yeah, it's quite interesting you said it felt like a game to you, because I know we try not to talk about it before the pod because we like to get our genuine thoughts out and talk about it properly on here. But yeah, I'd never thought about it that way, and it really did. I'm not sure why, whether it is like what you say it is, whether like the camera's behind them, but you also get some like really good kind of aerial shots and like pan down views and stuff like that, like running through the fog. And although I've never played this game, I used to play a little bit of Resident Evil, and that was a lot like that. You go into a room and you get a shot down from above, and it's interesting. I never really thought about it like that, but you're right. It is just it's kind of like a game.
I've seen people, again, I've watched other people play Resident Evil, and I know what you mean. Like I had a housemate who was really into Resident Evil, like around the time of, I think, PlayStation 2 maybe. And like he'd switch all the lights off and get involved in the kind of the atmosphere of it. But yeah, the way it looked, I'd sit and watch and kind of take that in and think, oh, that's a bit like this movie or that kind of thing. So yeah. I'm
assuming they kind of did that like intentionally though. And it wasn't like a happy accident.
Yeah, I think they're trying to make this so that, like, because sometimes the big criticism of gaming, it takes it away from the things that people love about the game. And I totally get that. But obviously you couldn't have it just an exactly faithful representation of everything that happens in a game, because it takes you hours and hours and hours and hours to finish a game. Yeah, it's a bit like you couldn't do every page of a book in
that's right. Yeah, you think about the hours of gameplay.
Maybe it's the same feeling. I don't know. It's a bit like me with The Godfather. I read the book first, and then I watched the film, and I was like, oh, they've left this out and they've left this out. People are like, oh, it's one of the greatest films ever made, and I was like, it's okay. So yeah, maybe it's a bit like that. Playing the game, it's harder to please those people because they've been involved in that game for hours and hours and hours and hours.
One thing I'll say though is, even though I've seen this a few times, I've never really like fully kind of like understood everything that happens. I don't know if it's the film or if it's just me like not paying enough attention, like, because I've got a bit of a low attention span when it comes to thinking too much in movies. when you really got to think about it, I kind of lose interest. So it might have just been me, or I don't know. Did it make a whole lot of sense to you? I'm thinking more like towards the end. We won't give any spoilers away, but
I guess like, because a lot of things pop up, don't they? A lot of things happen, and like there's a lot of deaths and coming back to life elements, and like, oh, why did that happen? How did that happen? Oh, they're dead. No, they're not. Like, it got a bit. And yeah, when you can, sometimes I feel like it's a bit of an overload with things like that, and then you just go, "Oh fuck it, I'm not that interested." Yeah. Like I'm not in the mood to go back and watch it again or dig deep into it. I'll just take it for what it was. I think it kind of sags a bit in the middle and then feels quite rushed at the end. So maybe there's a lot that happens at the end, and even the ending like is a bit like, oh, it's this. No, it's not. It's this. Bye. And you're like, oh, okay.
I think you're right.
So the pacing is a little bit. I guess it's a bit like a computer game where you get to the final boss.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. Yeah, that again is just like a game. Like the first half leading towards the end, it's more like roaming around. You're finding clues and you're doing all this, and then you get to the end, and that's like the hardest bit of the game. And
they slow you down. In sort of the beginning to the middle of it. Like even like games like Alex Kidd in Miracle World, where you're having to do the little puzzles just to get to do the fun stuff where he's swimming later on. You're like, come on, gotta get through this bit. And that's what it felt a bit like with some of the parts in the middle. Yeah. It was cool that like it's mainly female driven, and the cop is like a badass, and like I'm not quite sure how they sort of bonded so quickly, but I guess I don't know. It's because of how insane everything went. But yeah, there's no you can't no one can criticize the acting. Like the acting's really good. Yeah. I felt like Sean Bean didn't know what film he was in and what he was doing, but like that wasn't his fault so much as he's a great actor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he's a great actor. I'm a little surprised actually they got him in that, because it wasn't a huge role, really. No,
it's like when you get a famous female actor, females. To that was my Friday night dinner reference. Dad always called female, but where he. He's playing that role of the wife essentially that's at home, who you see occasionally, and she's like a big name, and you think, oh, maybe she'll get to do something in this film, and she doesn't. So that's quite forward thinking, really. That this time the sort of underwritten wife part is Sean Bean, and I imagine he got paid a decent amount for it. But like the accents just made me laugh. I was trying to work out his accents all the way through. And it's like he didn't rush to like it would have been a bit crap if he'd have just been the person who solved everything and put everybody on his back and saved them all, and like that'd have been a bit rubbish, I think.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Should we get into it?
I feel like we're about to spoil it, so yeah.
There's a lot to unpack, so I think. All right, let me hit that spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
Alright, so Rose da Silva and her husband Christopher have adopted a daughter called Sharon, and she keeps sleepwalking and having nightmares about an abandoned town called Silent Hill. Rose takes Sharon to Silent Hill to find the answers, and on the way her behaviour concerns a police officer called Sybil Bennett, who kind of like follows them to the town. They have a car crash and Rose blacks out, and then when she wakes up in like a foggy Silent Hill, realizing that Sharon is missing. And when she sees a girl who resembles Sharon. But Sharon!
That's what I kept doing when I was watching it.
But the town suddenly transitions into a nightmare world inhabited by like inhuman monsters, and when it returns back to normal, she finds Sybil, but they realise that they're trapped in Silent Hill, as all the roads out of town ends in mysterious cliffs, so they're stuck there. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
How do you feel about all that then? That intro going into it?
Yeah, it was good. I was expecting the police officer. I was expecting the police officer to kind of like. You mean just the bit where they go up to the bit where she's having her nightmares and what have you?
Yeah, just like all of that, the intro going into Silent Hill.
Yeah, it reminded me a bit of when we watched Pet Sematary, like where the kids running towards the cars and stuff, and I was like, no, but darker, and I was like, oh no, this is going to be really dark and hard to see, and like we've maybe said it before about that sort of era of films where they were just like a lot of them were really really dark, not thematically but just visually. And then when she just decides to take her to this place because that's what she's having nightmares about, I was like, I'm not sure that that's a particularly sound strategy. Like, I'm not sure that is how you... I know it's like, oh, confront your demons or whatever, but it's like, if I have a dream about like being chased by like a giant chicken, like my mum was just like, right, that's it, we're going to the chicken farm. Like, I'm not quite sure about that thing. And she just cuts off her husband. She's just like, fuck it, I'm taking him. I'm taking her. Yeah. Off we go. And that happens very fast. That all is quite quick. It's quite quick at the beginning, quite quick at the end. In the middle's a bit saggy, but like they're off to the races. They're off to Silent Hill. But yeah, it wasn't anything like, oh, I'm gripped straight away or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm the same really. I did like the whole transition into I don't know how you'd call it, like the dark Silent Hill and the normal Silent Hill. I don't know what it is. Yeah,
that was good to see, because that sort of explained it for you visually, didn't it? What you were getting. The cop, I thought it was going to be like the cop was going to steal the kid. So I was a bit like, she was just kind of knocking on the window and looking at her, and the way that they were filming the cop. Yeah, the way they were filming the cop watching the mum. Yeah. And anytime someone leaves the kid on their own in the car, it's a sign, isn't it, that something is going to happen to the kid. I think films are starting to subvert that a little bit more now, that idea, because there's a new film, I think it's the new M. Night Shyamalan film, with Josh Hartnett, and I saw the trailer for it the other day, and he sat with his little girl and he's like, oh, I'll just leave you for a minute, I'm just going to the bathroom, and you think, oh no, something bad's going to happen to the kid, and then the trailer gives it all away, so I'm not going to ruin it or spoil the film for anyone, but I can't remember what it's called. But it's not that, like, that's not what happened. They literally tell you straight away. But I was just thinking, well, that's ruined the film for a lot of people. Because when you see a kid on their own in a film, you think peril, something bad is going to happen. To be told straight away in a trailer, that's maybe why modern trailers are so terrible. Yeah, like they just tell you everything. Yeah,
I tend not to watch trailers anymore, because literally every trailer now just literally tells you the film, and they're so long now as well. Like a lot of trailers are like 4 minutes.
Yeah, that one was really long. I watched it. Somebody posted it last night, and I watched it, and I was like, oh, am I watching part of the film? I literally thought, am I watching a clip from the film, or is this the trailer? It needs to be like 30 seconds to a minute, man. That's cool.
Right. And you don't get the voice anymore, do you?
No, in a world
called Silent Hill.
No, all you get now is like every 10 seconds. Yeah. Just a big vrooming sound.
Here's a question. Those all the little monsters that come out, they all come out when the sirens go off. Like there's that siren, and then it transitions to like the dark world of Silent Hill. All the monsters come out, and then when it goes back to normal, foggy Silent Hill, they all kind of like fade away. How come there was that one in the beginning that sprays like the acid on the cop? It had like no arms, and it was like waddling towards her on the road. That was a monster thing.
Well, why does that one not go away?
Yeah, like why is that so special?
Well, don't know.
Is there a reason, or I don't know? I just thought they all came out, unless they don't. I don't know. It's just the thing. I get too confused.
There's bits of this film where I was like, I felt like I was watching some of the films we've done before, particularly when we have flashbacks to like Catholic priests doing stuff, and people being bad. Like I was like, oh man. I had a flashback to some of those other ones we'd watched. I know this is probably before those, but I was just like, oh, do we have to have another film where there's like somebody banished from their group because of being abused by a rogue priest? Like, I'm just like, oh, come on. It's just, it feels like that has to be part of from like you said, a period of maybe from 2000 to about 2012. Yeah. It's like that happens a lot, and it's the twist. It's often the twist in the film, like, but they didn't deserve to be ostracized. They didn't do anything wrong, and you're like, yep, that's right. Yeah.
Oh well.
Anyway, so it was a bit of a rant.
Anyway. So Rose learns that Alyssa, I can't even pronounce the last name, Alyssa, is a young girl who was burned as a witch by the Brethens, who's the town's cult. Her mother, Dahlia, wanders the streets as an outcast. Christopher searches the abandoned town, but they find nothing, just a simple abandoned place with no fog and no creatures at all. In Silent Hill, Rose finds the girl again, revealed to be an aspect of Alyssa. When the town transitions into the darkness, everyone flees into an old church, but Pyramid Head catches and skins alive one of the town's cult members. That was cool. I like that. That was a good kill.
That's the standout moment of the film, really, isn't it? That's the bit probably people remember.
Yeah, that's probably the thing that people take away from this film, when Pyramid skins
why
her
is
alive.
Why has he got a pyramid on his head?
I don't know. I don't know.
I know why Jason's wearing a hockey mask. Well, I don't know why Pyramid Man head person has got a pyramid on his head.
Good question. Again, questions that
Something
we
to do with the
can't
game,
answer.
something to do with the Illuminati or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there is another movie to this, a second one. I don't know whether that kind of gives away any, like they should do a prequel, like how Silent Hill became Silent Hill. Because they try
Maybe
and
it's in the
describe
games.
it. Yeah, probably. They try and talk about it, something about a coal fire, and we get a bit of a flashback at the end, but yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Cults are hard to, like, those sort of cults as well, and groups are hard to fully realise in films without being really boring. And I think that, like, Halloween tried it with, like, was it Thrawn or whatever they were called, and not Thrawn, that's Star Wars. Thrawn. They tried it and it felt like out of place, and there's not a lot. I mean, some of the Hammer films and things like that, but there's not a lot of good. Like maybe the 70s, they were better at doing the occult and like the occult and cults. They were better at doing it in the 70s. It felt kind of creepier, maybe because of like Manson and like other cults and things that were around at the time, so it felt more real. Whereas now it kind of feels a bit sillier, or doesn't hit home because people aren't as religious as they used to be.
Yeah, I read that kill where he skins her alive. I mean that actor, he's played by Roberto Campanella. Oh no, one of my models fell over.
Don't speak about Roberto.
Roberto, I think he played a few people. He also played Colin, the janitor in the toilet at the end.
Oh, great. What a fantastic role to get.
The end cubicle janitor, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he played a few people, but yeah, he played Pyramid Head. And I read that was all special effects. Obviously not when he picks her up, that's CGI, but...
He really kills them, though, yeah.
Yeah. But that whole skinning her alive, they used like a proper dummy with removable skin, and he just tore that straight off.
Ooh,
I don't know,
it's like a chicken leg.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Did you see that picture I sent you?
I did.
It was me at HorrorCon with two.
You're the one on the left.
Funny.
I know you're the one on the right.
Yeah.
I know you're the one in the middle, of course.
Yeah, I'm in the middle with the
Middle one,
dark
the
nurse on the left and Pyramid on the right. Pyramid Head on the right, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't really find Toblerone Man is probably not as scary as the nurse in person. The face is horrible.
Yeah, that was a good scene as well with the nurses.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they weren't. There was a little logistical moments with that where I wasn't sure why she was getting past them, and then another light thing. But
yeah, that didn't make sense.
some of it they were following the light, and then they weren't. and then they were just freezing, and then they were attacking her without the light, and then they were stopping, and they must have known she was there. Like, she was super close to them. But yeah, they look. One thing you can say is, as a group, well, individually they're scary, and as a group they look even scarier.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Toblerone Man is not as scary as.
Okay, so the leader of the cult, Christabella, says that Sharon is in the hospital basement, but when she sees an image of her, she thinks it's Alyssa, and she tries stopping them, claiming that they're witches. Sybil holds them off while Rose descends into the basement, but she's quickly captured. Rose explores the basement and has to sneak past a group of disfigured dark nurses. And
Darkness.
and then she enters Alyssa's room. And that's when we see the flashback, and that shows us Alyssa. She's being picked on at school, to where she runs and hides in the school bathroom, and then it's kind of implied that she was like raped by Colin, the janitor. Fucking Colin. Christabella decides to purify Alyssa, but as her mother doesn't reveal who the father was, they tie her up and they roast her over a fire. But it goes wrong, and it causes a huge fire that gets out of hand, and she's hospitalized and in excruciating pain, and Alyssa's rage splits her soul apart, one half manifesting as the dark entity responsible for the shifting dimensions of Silent Hill, and her remaining innocence manifests as Sharon, who was taken to the real world to be adopted.
Yeah, simple as that.
Yeah, nice and easy. But yeah, I am glad they did a flashback, because I was getting a bit lost anyway. I don't know if that helped or made it worse. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
What about that line that mother is like a god to a child? That seemed to be very important to the story. Like the main theme of the story, which is like, you don't have to believe in God, but you do have to believe in like your mum.
Yeah.
Which sounds silly now I'm saying it like that, but it's an interesting take on the strength and the importance of a mother to you know. I don't know. I thought that was quite interesting, because it's very rare, isn't it, that the lead character, the mother, is the strong character or drives the story. So they were really, either they were laying it on too thick, depending on how you want it, or they were making the story nice and clear and like making her a hero, which I think is really cool. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I did read actually a little bit saying that Alyssa's mother, what's her name, Dahlia, she was like the kind of scraggly one that was like outside, kind of roaming around. And there's a reason, like, I think Alyssa, because every time it changed into the dark dimension, she remained safe, and that was because Alyssa was protecting her. It was killing everyone else around her, like Pyramid Head and everyone, but Alyssa protected her mum, Dahlia, even though she was outside in the dark dimension all the time. So
yeah, there's definitely like a kind of appreciation of or love for her mother that didn't leave her. Which is pretty cool.
Oh, something we haven't touched on as well is the score. I don't normally notice movie scores that well unless it properly stands out, and this definitely stood out. Like, it's a really proper, beautiful piano piece, and I think it's the exact music from the game. They've taken it literally straight from the game, or maybe like remixed a little bit. But
okay.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool. What did you think of the score? Did it stand out to you?
It didn't, but now you say that, I'm like, actually, yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't think it was bad. It wasn't like just sort of slamming and industrial sort of noises that a lot of films had at the time. So that's a positive. It did feel like a proper score. There's a lot of things that made it feel like a proper movie compared to a lot of, well, you know what I mean by a proper movie, like a real horror movie rather than a computer game horror movie. One of the things I think that helped with that was the music.
Yeah. All right, so I think we're pretty much at the end now. So, desperate to find Sharon, Rose allows Dark Alyssa's spirit to enter her body, allowing it to access the church. Christabella burns Sybil as a witch and plans to do the same to Sharon. When Rose confronts Christabella, calling her a murderer, she stabs Rose, but the disfigured Alyssa rises from the blood and tears Christabella and her followers apart with loads of barbed wire. Rose and Sharon leave the town and go home, but upon arriving, they discover that they're still in the foggy dimension, separated from reality. Meanwhile, Christopher awakens alone in the real world and discovers that the front door has mysteriously opened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
A little underwhelming, I thought.
You thought
like
it could have been done a bit better?
It's just a bit sad and a bit like, a bit like, oh right, they're dead. Like,
okay.
they're still not dead, but they're in the shadow realm or whatever. But there's a little bit of power there to kind of let them know let him know that they are there. But like, I don't know. I just didn't feel anything about it. I was just like, the movie's over.
Yeah, I don't even know if that end bit was necessary.
I thought that, like, it would have just... I know that sometimes we don't just want things like, and everyone's safe and they go home and they throw themselves into... But also, like, I just felt a little bit tacked on. Like, we need something at the end of the film. Now, it might be that that's the whole end, the big, massive climax of the game series. Maybe. That they go through all this and then they're still inside this realm and they can't escape. But I don't know. If I was playing a game, I'd be gutted if that was the end. It's like, I've not completed the game.
Oh yeah, other than Pyramid Head skinning that woman alive, the other one that kind of stood out was Sybil being burned alive. That was pretty brutal. Because it was like a really slow, kind of painful death. It wasn't like chuck her on a fire. She was like 20 feet high above, and she was like really slowly kind of like burning from the heat, and her face was like blistering and peeling off until she finally got on fire. But that is, I think that's even worse.
I mean, that was obviously CG as well, I guess.
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
This is a bit of a commitment as an actor. But... I just thought, I didn't feel, I know what you mean. I don't think it looked bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it looked bad. But I wasn't like, oh no, what's happening? I was just like, oh, that looks pretty cool.
Well, you didn't really see anything, did you? It was like panned in on like her face. But obviously you can see like the heat waves coming up. But it's left to your imagination, that one. Yeah, should we go ahead and give it our rating? 1 to 10 Collins. How many Collins are you going to give it?
Colin. Fuck Colin. So I think obviously it's hard making a computer game when you've got to serve the fans who want to see it. I believe that there was thousands upon thousands of unsolicited scripts sent to Roger Avary when he was writing it, and he ended up just looking at none of them because he was just like, this is too much. Like, so there's obviously die-hard fans of this series, and this is definitely not the worst computer game adaptation I've seen. Horror computer games, which were really big around this time. Obviously, I found it quite amusing in places with Sean Bean's accent. But actually, everyone acting in it was great. You can't fault them. The director knows how to direct a film. The writer knows how to write a film. They tried to make a horror film. I get the impression, anyway, they tried to make a horror film faithful to the game and maybe did not enough of one and not enough of the other. And it's kind of just fallen in between two stools. Like, if they'd have made a horror film based on the source material but just kind of followed their own sensibilities, it could have been amazing. But then if they'd have made a computer game film that just followed every aspect of the computer game, then it would have been quite boring. So it's tricky. That's what works for it and works against it, I guess, from my point of view. Like, I would say out of 10 Collins, I would say it's better than a 5 out of 10. So, like, it's a well-made film. So I'm giving it a 6.
6 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, it's a cool film. It's a good film. I think it has a more specific kind of crowd, fan base, like people who have grown up with the games and people who already have like an understanding of it beforehand would probably appreciate it a little more than someone going in like not knowing anything about it. Problem is I don't really enjoy films that involve too much thinking, and so when you add different dimensions and dark versions of characters, I get a bit lost and I give up quite easily. But yeah, I mean, I liked it visually. I thought like the sets were really good, the set designs, the fogginess, the whole the way they shot it and the characters. Yeah, it was good, but yeah, it was just the story. I thought about it a bit too much.
Stop thinking.
So yeah, stop thinking. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna go with what I've already got written down, and that's a 6.5 out of 10. 6.5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I need to get used to 0.5s.
That is what I'm going with. And with that, let's jump into this week's trivia.
Trivia. Oh, yeah.
So the trivia for this film, you'll like this one. One of the few mainstream films in his career where Sean Bean's character doesn't actually die.
Yes.
Which is ironic because this is a horror film, the one genre where you'd think he'd most likely die in.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that because there's some great supercuts of him. Well, 2 great supercuts. One of all the deaths of Sean Bean, and the other one is him saying "bastard."
Bastard.
Bastard. I've got a mate from Sheffield. I just get him to say "bastard" all the time. Is it Sean Bourne or Sean Bean or Sean Bean? Sean Bean. Sheen. Yeah. Okay.
The strange stumbling movements of the dark nurses when they first come alive was created by filming them walking backwards and then running the film in reverse.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
cool. I like it when films do that.
Yeah, so I now okay. So there's I was just thinking back to like the number of times I bumped into people dressed as those nurses at conventions and stuff, and I was thinking, what are you supposed to be? What are you doing? Now I'm like, oh, okay, it makes sense.
A dark nurse. Radha Mitchell, she got punched in the face by one of the dark nurses during that film in the hospital scene when she's sneaking past them. I don't know if they kept it in the film, but at one point I think one of them actually got her in the face.
Yeah. Well, do you know, it keeps saying dark nurse. It sounds like you just can't say darkness.
Darkness. A darkness.
Are you going to talk about I Believe in a Thing Called Love?
The darkness.
The dark nurse. Maybe that's what they're called.
And the last one, Roberto Campanella. He said the helmet he wore for Pyramid Head weighed about 12 pounds on its own. And he could not see anything. He couldn't see what was in front of him or to the sides of him. All he could see was his feet. So I'd imagine there was a few accidents with him going around, especially
neck ache afterwards, isn't it?
yeah, especially with that great big sword that he was swinging around. So yeah, sword.
Swinging his
I
big
said sword. Behave. Yeah, and that's it for trivia. So let's do this week's game.
Play a game.
I'm feeling confident
Well, I hope
after
so.
last week.
Last week you got 4 marks. You got 6 out of 6.
Yeah, no, I'm never going to get one wrong again.
We shall see. This game is What's That Tagline? So I'll name some taglines and you got to guess what movie it's from. First up, one night is all that stands between them and freedom, but it's going to be one hell of a night.
Hell Night? It's going to be one hell of a night. Hell Night.
No, that was From Dusk Till Dawn.
Dang.
So yeah, no full marks this week. Number 2. It's always someone you know.
Oh, wow. It's always someone you know. Scream? I was gonna say, there goes that dream. You know, I'm not gonna get full marks this time. The tension's gone after question 1.
Okay, you got to get this one. In space, no one can eat ice cream.
Is that a real one?
Yeah.
No one can eat ice cream.
In space, no one can eat ice cream.
It's not Jason X. Spaceballs? No. No one can eat ice cream.
We've done it. It's one we've done.
That's a tagline from an actual film. In space, no one can hear ice cream.
Can eat ice cream.
Can eat ice cream. It's not Alien, is it? Because that wouldn't make sense. In space, no one can. Have we done any funny horrors?
Yeah.
Have we?
Yeah. There's one.
In space,
that
no
stands out.
one can hear you. Ice cream.
In space, no one can eat ice cream.
Oh, no one can eat ice cream. No one can hear you eat ice cream. Okay. Oh, this is so confusing. Oh, so I've cheated, but it's Killer Clowns.
Oh, you cheated. All right, yeah, it is.
I just needed to know that. I was like, that's bullshit. There's no.
Oh, okay. Your luck just ran out.
It did.
That's the tagline. I'm not just saying that.
Okay. Well, it has. Luck just ran out. Saw? No, Final Destination.
No. That was Leprechaun.
Oh, they're always all after everyone's. I can't remember. Something about my gold. My brain's gone now. I've lost it. He's lost his head.
Next one. Their flesh is his fantasy.
Their flesh is his fantasy. Nightmare on Elm Street.
No,
Oh, Hellraiser.
No.
I don't need 2, please.
No, that was The Human Centipede.
Oh, it's a beautiful film.
Oh,
The second one is an absolute masterpiece.
Okay, last one. Infinite space, infinite terror.
Event Horizon. A good film as well.
Yeah.
A great film.
So, what did you get? I think you got 3 out of 6.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was a hard one, to be fair.
It was. But then last week's was as well. But you know.
Yeah.
I was awesome last week, and then my brain stopped working this week. So
Okay, all right, let's wrap up. So next episode, we're gonna do The Hills Have Eyes from 1977.
2 years before I was born.
Yeah, man.
I've not seen this.
Have you not?
I never wanted to. I'm not a big fan. This is a hillbilly one, isn't it?
Hillbilly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hillbilly stuff. But like, so what were the Hills of Eyes? The Hillbillies of Eyes?
The Hillbillies have Eyes. It's basically Wrong Turn in the desert.
Wow. What year? 1977?
Yeah.
Really?
That was Wes Craven's second film.
Right. Oh, of course, because the other one is a tough watch. The first one is a tough watch. So yeah. Wow.
Well, I mean, this one isn't a great watch. But
well, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Wes
It'll be on
Craven.
YouTube, I'm sure.
The lovely Dee Wallace. She's in it.
I thought you were going to say I'd left us a message. Long time listener.
And obviously Michael Berryman as Pluto.
Michael Barrymore's in it. Oh my god. I know who Michael Berryman is. I'm just being.
Yeah, he's going to be at HorrorCon this year, so I'm going to get to meet him. Looking forward to that.
I was reading about his physical,
Face.
things that are different about the defects.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know if we use defects now. It was really interesting. The good news is The Hills of Eyes is on YouTube as well.
Is it? Is it really? All right. Yeah, cool. Unless you got anything else you want to wrap up on.
No, it was good. I enjoyed watching Silent Hill. I can say I've seen it now.
Yeah, and you now know who Pyramid Head is and the Dark Nurse is.
Yeah, the guys who follow me on Letterboxd can now see why I watched Silent Hill in the middle of a real strange... I think I'd watched Hellraiser, Hellworld, Funhouse, Operation Condor, some odd ones, and then in the middle of it, Silent Hill, so now people know.
Cool, man. All right, I'll see us out. So if you've liked today's episode and want to hear more, then go ahead and give us a follow on wherever you're listening from. You can find us on Facebook, because that's where we stick up our poll pics, where you can vote for what we do next, just like this episode. That's all for today, so thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
We all go a little mad sometimes.